guy like Sergei Kostitsyn, who was an outcast in Montreal. He arrives on your scene, he's a very productive player.
Well, I think if you're going to have any success, you can't just point to one person. I mean, that's again why we took some big strides this year. Is that we had a lot of guys come through. I mean, Pecorini played as one of the best, if not best, goaltenders in the league, and is recognized by that for the Vezina Trophy. Shea Weber took over as a captain and is up for the Norris Trophy. We signed and make a deal for Sergei Kostitsyn. It wasn't working out very well with him and his team in Montreal. A little bit of a risk, I guess you could say. But having said that, he played the best that he ever played, scored 23 goals. I mean, there's all sorts of stories like that on our team and every other team. I don't think we'd make the playoffs if we don't trade for Mike Fisher. We had all sorts of injuries at center ice. We were really decimated there. He comes in, a player that has got that swagger, confidence, been there before, played really well for us. I'm sure he was a big leader in the dressing room that probably, kept the team together and kept the team believing. So, for every success you have, it's never going to be attributed just to one player or one person.
I think when people look at the team, they say that if they could go out and get another offensive player, that would benefit a lot. There's a lot of talk about Alex Radulov once again. I mean, what's the latest with that? And just give us an update on where things stand with that, if there's anything to say at all.
I've heard that before. Well, we've been talking to he and his agent. I think it's pretty clear that he wants to come back. What's not clear is his ability to come back. In past years, he's been gone 3 years now, and I sort of said the same thing, but I really believe he's going to come back. And again, I can't say it's going to be this year, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be too much longer. I think he's won 2 MVPs in the KHL. His team won the championship. He wants to play in the best league in the world. He wants to play with the best players. So again, he's got a contract. This is his last year of his contract there. So I'm thinking that there's a real good chance that he can come over next year.
Can you talk about Shea as a leader for the team?
Well, I think it's been a great development process. I mean, again, drafting Shea at 18 years old, doing it the Predator way, if you will, coming to our conditioning camps, playing junior for an extra year, coming into Milwaukee, playing there, coming up to Nashville, playing in a lesser role, eventually a top role, and then last summer making him our captain. And I mean, his career is just like a ladder. It's step after step after step. And I mean, he's the real deal. I mean, as a player and as a person, I can't think of a better guy to keep leading us. And hopefully, we'll get a contract then for Shea, and that will be a story that can live for a lot of years. We can have a lot of interviews on Shea Weber.
The injuries were.
Well, I have an update. I'm involved in that.
I'd like to share that part with us.
Here's what I hear.
Sources say.
No, we've last week I met with his agents for actually a couple of days, and it's ongoing. I mean, these are big contracts. I mean, obviously he's going to be our highest paid player ever. It's not easy. It's not easy from the money to the years. There's a lot of things involved. So again, it is and has been a goal to get Shea down a longer term situation, and we're going to continue talking. I'm going to see his representatives at the draft and go from there.
His comments seem to indicate he's really willing and really interested in staying in the US, and that's a good sign.
Well, it's a positive sign. Everything he said is tracking that way. Again, we know we have our work cut out for us. Now it's Shea, and then it's Ryan Suter, and then it's Pecorini. Those are our 3 best players in our stars, and they're all going to command significant increases. But we think we can. We know we can do it to keep the team together. It's just getting it done. And again, it's not a situation where I can bring all 3 in a room and do that. It's a one-off situation. So I guess you could say I'm pedaling as fast as I can, and hopefully we'll get it done sooner or later. So again, there's not a day that goes by that we don't spend time talking about this, and we just got to keep working at it until we get it done.
It was an important season for you. We talked Mother's Day when you arrived back from Vancouver, wanting to keep things going. What's it mean for the franchise, for you and Barry to be here on sitting in the kitty corner from each other and to have the success?
Well, it really shows obviously some success with the franchise. It's a recognition, if you will, that we're on the map, so to speak. I mean, Nashville, with all due respect, I think in our early years as an expansion team, had some probably more negative publicity than positive publicity. Not from so much on the ice, if you will. I mean, we still played pretty competitive, but it was a franchise that was always Nashville Predators, and the next statement was, are they going to make it, and are they going to be transferred? And obviously that got fueled tremendously 4 years ago when Craig Leopold decided to sell the team, and was going to go possibly to Canada, and other situations came through. So it hasn't been an easy ride, so to speak, in Nashville, because there's always been an uphill battle. The team doesn't have enough revenues, not a big enough city, a lot of those situations. But I think having a second chance, if you will, the new ownership, being able to bring the team back up again, making the playoffs 6 of the last 7 years, and this year winning the first round of the playoffs has probably given us a level of recognition that we've never had before. And it feels good right now. I mean, we've got players like Weber, Suter, and Pecoreni, and we certainly have an opportunity here to be a real good team, and a team that if we can add a little bit more offense, maybe a top team in the league.
You're an anomaly in many ways, outside of Darcy and Windy and Buffalo. Your consistency at the top. A lot of teams don't go that way. They're quick to want to make change or answering critics by making those kinds of changes. You take some satisfaction. You've been there every single day.
No, a tremendous amount of satisfaction. I mean, again, if it was over for me today, that would be one of my proudest accomplishments. Is a lot of staff has been there from day one, and most importantly, Barry Trotz has been there from day one. I think it's the correct way to do things. Having said that, other managers, all the franchises aren't equal, and the pressures that they have from ownership, media, any number of areas are different. I mean, you can't walk in somebody else's shoes. I mean, I came in here, and the owner, Craig Leopold, gave me tremendous confidence in me. The same with this ownership group now. They believe in everything that we're doing, and I have a lot of experience, so sometimes I could get emotional, but again, I try not to get too highs on the wins and too low on the losses, and try not to read too many if the press clippings are nice, or definitely try not to read the press clippings if things aren't good for our franchise, because you people whisper in your ear all the time, like maybe we should change coaches or things like that. So I don't want to say I'm oblivious to it, but I try to take the high road, and I try to have the blinders on and know what's going on with our hockey club. I mean, like this year, for example, I don't know, we weren't even picked for making the playoffs, but we go through Matthew Lombardi, Pecoreni gets hurt in the first game, Matthew Lombardi gets hurt in the second game, then we lose all our center icemen. Coaches were doing a fabulous job. But maybe if that was in a different market with different expectations, there would have been a call to make a change.
With all the injuries this year, I mean, the first year you're all set, you got the people you want out there, and there's one after another the whole season. How the pressure on you to keep bringing people up from Milwaukee and finding other ways to put a team on the ice every night. Could you talk about that a little?
Yeah, well, that has been the Predator way. That's for sure. And I mean, again, the thing that I like about where our club is right now, like the Edmonton Oilers say they got the youngest team in the league. Well, we got the 5th youngest team in the league, and we made the playoffs. And Shea Weber is 26 years of age, and we have 15 of our 23 guys in our roster at the end of the year were draft picks. What I like about that is they got drafted, they all came to conditioning camps together, they all played in Milwaukee together, and so when we call up players, whether it's Nick Smalling or Jonathan Blum, it's not like, well, I don't know what this guy can do, I don't know what he's like, I don't know where he fits in. It's like, Blummer, this is where you're going to play with, okay, Kleiner, good, you can play, and there's a belief, there's a confidence that they know because they've been together with all of these different situations. So right now we got a really good situation going with our drafting, the quality of our drafting, of course, and our depth. So it's worked out really, really good for us.
Looking back, what have you thought about and learned from this past season that you'll use going forward this next year?
What have I learned? Probably you can't have enough depth. I mean, again, it's not so much of what I've learned is, but whatever plans that you have, I mean, they go right out the window. I mean, so you clearly as a manager, you got to have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. I mean, as we're just recounting here, I mean, I can tell you on the goaltending thing is that, we came to, whether it be Decanish or Pickard or Lindback in goal, we didn't know coming into training camp, but what we did know is that Pekka was the real deal. We're going to play him lots of games. In fact, we're going to probably play him the first 20 games of the season, and then we'll just see where we go with our second goalie. Well, Pekka gets hurt in the first game. And then Lindback has to go in the second game of the season in Chicago. We just won the Stanley Cup, and he wins there. I mean, that's good. That's a little bit lucky too. And then we need more offense. So our big signing in the offseason is Matthew Lombardi to play on our top two lines. He plays one game in one period all year long. I mean, those are big things that happen to you. So that speaks well of the organization and various stuff like that. But you just never know. That's, again, there's no such thing as, I guess you would say, sort of relax, and you got to be able to keep changing things up or finding replacements or doing things all the time.
What's the latest on Lombardi and Bouillon?
Bouillon is actually feeling much better. I'd say he's pretty close to starting to really ramp up in his exercise. Lombardi's feeling better, but not doing anything just yet. He's hoping to get some clearance to start doing a little bit. So a little bit more optimism on Bouillon right now. A little bit more hope than there was before with Lombardi.
In that same vein, for Lombardi, can you kind of squash the rumor or encourage it that if these guys sign Marcel Gotch, it's a replacement for Matthew Lombardi? That hasn't. I mean, it's not.
No, I mean we've talked to Gotch about a contract, and he signed Cal O'Reilly. I mean, I think there's in my own mind, you have to talk to Barry, but if Lombardi came back, depending on when and where all that stuff, I could certainly see him probably maybe even more easily playing the wing, starting to come back than at center. So I think this falls under, let's get some quality over the quantity and we'll figure it out. We're short, top six forward, so if it's Lombardi and he can get back, maybe he starts in the fourth line, then he moves up.
Are there certain principles that you look at in a player when you're choosing personnel? If you talk to Ken Holland, it's skill, and then we'll develop these guys. The things that you look at?
Yeah, I certainly like Detroit's philosophy. I can't say that we're that much different, but this may sound a little off, but we probably don't look at skill as much as Detroit does. I think as we've got our foundation, we'll probably take that up a little bit more. I would say we're more of a singles hitter than a home run hitter. We look for, I'd say soundness, hardness, those character type of traits just be more safer. I don't know, safe is a good word, but more solid type of players. But I mean, I think there are different times when you do different things. I mean, consciously when we drafted Radulov, that was our chance to get a big scoring forward. That would probably be a little bit out of the box because there's a lot of people worried about his, being erratic, which is proven out. He's come back. So that type of situation. I mean, you draft. Sometimes you draft for a different situation, but there's a lot of characteristics that are in there like that.
And resiliency, something Barry talks about a lot.
Time, yeah.
And that's part of the team's identity. Without speaking for Barry, what does that mean? I want someone to define resiliency for me and how it looks like in a Predators jersey.
Well, it means different things on different nights, depending on what we need. But the point is, just like I was talking earlier, is that you just, I guess you could say we never had our full lineup the whole year. I mean, when you look at it that way, so you just never know what's going to be thrown out your way. I mean, Marcel Gotch, he started, I think, in the first game on the fourth line. By 2 weeks into the season, he was playing on our first line. I mean, you just never know what's going to come your way. I mean, Blake Jeffrey is down the minors. He comes up, gets a hat trick in the Buffalo game. If he doesn't get those 3 goals, we lose that game, and I'm not sure we make the playoffs. I mean, it's things like that is what I would call resilient. I mean, you play through injuries, you play through the 82-game schedule, the hardness of the schedule. You're trying different situations. You're asking players to, I guess you'd say, be patient or trust me. So it's resilient means a lot of things on different nights to the Predators.
Another staple of your guys' organization is the consistency through ownership, yourself, Barry, and even people like Mitch Korn. talk a little bit about how that works and the loyalty you need to show, and maybe is it a product of being in the national environment, a little bit of less pressure?
Well, I think on the hockey side, I mean it's turned out hopefully to be my MO, if you will, is to try to have that consistency in your coaching staff, scouting, etc. I mean, when I took the job, I talked to a lot of different of my peers in the NHL about expansion teams before and what have you. And you sort of get your thoughts together. And I've told you guys that story before. They said about the coach. I mean, your team's not going to be very good, so why don't you should hire the most experienced coach you can get, because he'll cover up for a lot of mistakes for your team. Well, I did the exact opposite. I mean, what I really thought is an expansion franchise. This is an opportunity for me, opportunity for players, opportunity for some new scouts, and why not new coaches? And that's what I did. And we had a little bit of turnover in our scouting fraternity, but that was, I guess you'd say that's normal. But out of it, we've basically had the same coaching staff. Brent Peterson has to step down or aside this year, if you will, but we promote from within. Elaine Lambert is hired from Milwaukee. Peter Horachek was hired before him. So, I like when people say the Predator way, if you will, but it really seems to fit our MO, and certainly my MO. If we can continue to do that, I think it breeds loyalty. I hope it does anyway. And it seems to be just a good fit, maybe for me, for Nashville, Tennessee.
Loyalty isn't something you hear every day in pro sports anymore. I mean, if you guys are going to have obviously Shea Weber under the jersey this year, the free agent thing. I mean, is that something that you're hoping that he sees this as a family and wants to be here for the rest of his career?
Well, loyalty is a big word, so we and I shouldn't throw it around lightly, because that's how loyalty is always a two-way street. And again, this is a business, and business means it's about money, and in situations like that, and you have to do your best to work that balance. But I mean, you clearly know, and I think the fans know, and the hockey world knows, that we like to promote from within. We're proud of the fact that our entry-level guys are making up the majority of our team, and as best possible, we want to keep the guys that we have. So that's the Predator way.